This is advertising material.
Injured in an Uber or Lyft? Here's the problem. Was it the driver's fault? The other car? The app company? Good luck figuring that out while you're trying to heal. Alexander Shinar Trial Attorneys, they've got a guy for rideshare accidents. And here's the best part. They don't get paid unless you do. You heal. They fight. One call, 877-222-6666. Or visit alexwins.law. Alexander Shinar Trial Attorneys. Because rideshare accidents need an experienced team.
This is advertising material. Past results do not guarantee future outcomes. Every case is different. Philip George is licensed attorney in Virginia, is responsible for legal work. Office is located in Norfolk.
A duo that's perfect together. That's Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating and Cooling, and Lennox. Herman Allen is your local Lennox dealer, and they're committed to making your family's home comfort their top priority. With a wide assortment of Lennox products to offer, Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling will ensure your home's air is perfect for your family. Call today at 804-746-5853 or visit online at hermanallenplumbing.com to learn more about how you can experience expert service and care.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Rain on game day doesn't faze Dave. He's already got his poncho. Just needs to do something about those wipers. So Dave heads to AutoZone,
Welcome to AutoZone.
where a friendly AutoZoner helps him get premium quiet wipers and some hand warmers.
You're all set.
Now, if only his team can handle the elements as well as his new wipers. Get wipers, glass cleaner, and more with no hassles, just help at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed. Shop now for a limited time. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
Hey, it's me, your piggy bank. Remember when you were a little kid? All the dimes and quarters in my back? Yeah, that was good times. Good times. Now lately, I gotta be honest, you've been ignoring me. Money's been slipping through your hands like a greased pig. Get it? Because I'm a... Anyway, I know how it is. Now that you get a real paycheck, it's nice to have stuff. You'll start saving money next year. Well, I hate to tell you, but good saving habits start now. Put just $20 in the bank a month. Make your own coffee at home instead of that latte every morning. Brown bag it to work instead of ordering in. Those changes alone could save you thousands of dollars a year. Come on, I'm your piggy bank. We can be together again, me and you, the special times. Anyway, if you don't want me to cry anymore, feed me. Go to feedthepig.org for more ideas on how to save. Feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Your home for Richmond Spiders athletics all year round. W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV HD2 Richmond. We are 1061 ESPN. Richmond, it's time to get your morning going. Richmond Sports Talk by Richmond sports fans. This is Fitz the Bill with Jack Fitzpatrick.
All live from the capital of the Commonwealth.
Where sharp analysis, your cause, and Richmond always come first. If it's making headlines locally or nationally, we're breaking it down. Now,
I'll take my talents to South Beach.
live from the capital of the Commonwealth, Fitz the Bill with your host, Jack Fitzpatrick.
The Cowboys shock BYU in Stillwater and take it by 7.
Dribble it out. The buzzer sounds. It is Bedlam at the board. The Gophers upset Michigan State.
It was a fun night last night in college basketball. We saw 3 upsets. OK State beats BYU. Portland takes down Gonzaga. Minnesota downs Michigan State. 3 unranked teams taking down 3 ranked teams. A lot of fun. College basketball is here. look, we sleep in May, whatever it is, what March Madness, all the crazy stuff John Rothstein tweets. It is here, and perfect timing because we're about to flip over fully to the basketball calendar after Sunday. I missed one. Who else? Who else lost?
Portland beat Gonzaga.
That was in there. That was in there.
It was? Okay.
That was the middle one.
That was the middle one.
That was the one that was just cheering. Shout out to the, I think they were student announcers on that one.
That is insane.
Shout out to them. They just said, we're going to let the fans tell the story here, and they just cheered. First time since January of 2011, Gonzaga lost to a team with a losing record.
I don't even pay attention to any of their games unless they play St. Mary.
Yeah, yes. That's the only time when you know Gonzaga is going to have a good game.
Yeah.
Apparently the Portland Pilots are able to give it to them. Good for Portland.
Shout out to the Portland. I didn't even know that was their mascot, the Pilots.
The Portland Pilots. Good one.
I knew it was a team in Portland. I did not know it was the Pilots. That's awesome.
And then OK State beats BYU. That one's not as fun. AJ DeBoncia had 36 points in that game.
My man can't do but so much, man.
But I love college basketball. It's fully here, and those were some fun 3 upsets last night. We'll break that down a little bit further. But Alan, I don't know if you're ready on this Thursday morning to talk about electrical substation conspiracy theories because Nick Eamon-Warry's hurt.
It's been throwing me off a little bit too. That it's Thursday, and is that the conspiracy?
Look. I understand that's not actually what happened, right?
I mean, I would assume you would have to have some extensive exposure to it. It wouldn't happen in like 4 days.
Maybe it's that aggressive. But also, Seattle's practicing at San Jose State. It's 11 miles away from the 49ers practice facility. But it's either the electrical substation or there's something in the water over there. Because, man, oh, man, does this bump. This is a bummer.
Well, wait till you get on the field. The field is dangerous too.
Hopefully Eamon-Warry can get on the field and test that out. He got hurt yesterday while practicing. And look, I'm diving into the research as we speak. I'm finding out that if electrical substation currents can travel 11 miles, because San Jose State, 11 miles away from the 49ers practice facility, I have a feeling they can. There's a reason Christian McCaffrey turns off his Wi-Fi at night.
Oh, my gosh.
This would, of course, if Eamon-Warry misses the game, massive blow to the Seahawks defense. We've talked at length about he's a Swiss Army knife. I ranked him yesterday in our top 10 players of the Super Bowl as our 3rd best player in this year's Super Bowl. As a rookie, he's excelled in his role, helping unlock the Mike Macdonald defense in ways similar to Kyle Hamilton in Baltimore when Macdonald was there. He is arguably the most important piece of the puzzle for the Seahawks. He is the guy who allows them to play in so many different packages and keep so many defensive backs on the field because he's essentially a linebacker who can move like a safety, who can cover like a corner. He played 68% of the snaps this season for the defense, and when he was on the field, the defense was more effective, more efficient. There was a 31% difference between EPA allowed per play from when Eamon-Warry was on the field versus off the field. Big difference. He's a guy that matters. And according to reports, the Pool report yesterday after practice, Mike Macdonald said, quote, he had an ankle today. We brought him in to look at it, and we'll kind of go from here and figure out what are the next steps. Eamon-Warry went down in practice after trying to defend a pass, appeared to injure his ankle, went to the ground. Players and coaches, this is the worrisome part, players and coaches went over to check on him and console him. He then went inside to get it checked out further and did not return. He was limited in practice, listed as limited due to not finishing out practice. Now, as the internet does, there were videos of Nick Eamon-Warry getting out of his car, going back into the team hotel. He was walking with a limp, and I'm about to put on some copium here. He was able to put weight on it, and what may be the best news in my opinion, Eamon-Warry was walking without a boot on. Boots, in my experience, are given out like candies to guys with ankle injuries, usually as a preventive measure. So it's notable, in my opinion, that he was seen without a boot on.
Also notable, he missed like a month with an ankle injury too.
I think it's his different ankle. He missed it with a high ankle sprain. The initial reports are that this one isn't the same injury, but also notable too. Little worrisome. Little worrisome.
He'll be all right,
my read is that it's just a normal ankle sprain from the limited information that we have. This is one of the ankle sprains or kind of the ankle rolls, when you do it, when it like hurts like heck when you first do it, and then it kind of tampers off. I'm hoping it's that type of ankle sprain, not like an ankle sprain that then balloons up overnight and then you've got two ankles on your right side. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if he walked off the field on his own power and he's still like limping around, he should be fine to play.
And no boot. I think no boot is important. And that, again, could be my copium, but I think it bodes well for the Seahawks. Plus, you mentioned it with the Sam Darnold oblique injury. The amount of painkillers that they've got able to shoot him up, he won't even feel his ankle on Sunday.
Put a good brace on, man. Get out there.
Get braced, toward it all.
Super Bowl.
We'll have ourselves a time. I mean, if we want to rewind to Super Bowl 49, going into that one, Cam Chancellor was playing with an injury. Richard Sherman was playing with a hyperextended elbow. Earl Thomas was playing with a separated shoulder. So, look, the Seahawks are no stranger to playing in Super Bowls with their star defender players playing through pretty impressive injuries.
Maybe y'all practice too hard.
I was about to say, I do think this brings me to my next point. We need to have a conversation about these practices coming out of bye weeks when it comes to Mike McDonald. Look, Sam Darnold coming into the 49ers game gets an oblique injury. Now, Eamon Warry.
But the oblique injury was like he was throwing and he hurt himself. And then Eamon Warry was just covering a pass and he like rolled his ankle.
Yeah, man.
They can't help that.
No, you can't. But
you got to do something.
I know. But, man, yeah, I mean, he got hurt the same way that if he had just jumped up and tried to defend a pass or just made a regular old jump in life, he just came down a little awkwardly and rolled it. But look, the blood pressure is high across the Pacific Northwest, and it's high in a small area of Richmond as well. It's going to be fascinating to see how Seattle approaches it if Eamon Warry is not able to go on Sunday. You've got Ty Okada, a backup safety, who's played very well. He played in spots when Julian Love missed time for the Seahawks. I believe he played when Eamon Warry missed a couple of games earlier on in the season, like Alan mentioned, with that ankle injury. But Eamon Warry, what makes him so good is his versatility, the fact that he can play down into the box, the fact that he can cover. I say Swiss Army knife because he is so toolsy. Ty Okada, the backup safety, does not have that same skill set. And if Eamon Warry is limited or can't go on Sunday, will the Seahawks answer with adding an extra defensive back on the field, or will they answer with adding an extra linebacker on the field? How do you fill that void? That's going to be fascinating to see. But at the end of the day, I don't think it is. I think it's serious. I don't think it's serious enough to keep him out of the game. I think you'd have to have a completely broken ankle to keep him out of the game. If it's just a mild sprain or even a medium sprain, you get a nice brace on it, you shoot him up with Toradol, and he's good to go. I don't think Eamon Warry will miss the game. A rookie that's yelling at a veteran probably is not missing a game with a sprained ankle, if that's kind of your barometer as well.
I mean, he's the defense. Like, he's literally how they work their game plan, so he has to play.
He's very important. Because it changes everything. Because, yeah, he is a defensive back and a linebacker. He allows them to play in so many of their packages that they go with. Like the Rams, when they went 13 personnel, so many teams across the league would then answer with their base package, bringing 3 linebackers onto the field. For the Seahawks, they were able to keep 2 linebackers and just bring Eamon Warry down into the box. I mean, he allows them to have so much flexibility in what they do. Ty Okada does not bring that. Their backup linebackers do not bring that. So if Eamon Warry goes, it changes the entire calculus of the Super Bowl on Sunday. Let's go out to the phone lines real quick. The Radkey Insurance phone line, 804-327-0888. Check out radkeyinsurance.com to get started on your free quote. We've got Chris on line 1. Good morning, Chris. How we doing?
Good morning, Jack. How you doing?
Great.
I'll save my who's talk for later, but I would like to just point out how, and I do hope this gentleman plays for your sake and your team's sake, so it's a good game, but how much of this really is the NFL or the teams trying to leak a little something to spark a little more interest or a little more drama to this? With all the NBA trades going on, we know it's Super Bowl weekend, everybody's going to be talking about it, but we've talked about it for 2 weeks, and with all the others, NBA trade news, it feels like this is kind of one little jab the NFL gets in to kind of bring it back in and bring back focus to football. Because if I remember correctly, Thanksgiving Day, Rob Brown had to be walked off the field for his sprained ankle, played the following Thursday and got 100 yards. So it's the biggest game of the year for these guys. Unless you have surgery, you got to tough it out. You got to play the Super Bowl. You may not get back. I don't think this gentleman would give that up. He knows what's at stake. I just think the NFL has a little twist to add to it to make it more interesting and hedge the bets a little bit before game time so they can see what people are betting.
I think what it boils down to is, one, us in the media just are running with the story. Like Drake May last week, he was listed as quote unquote limited. But the funny thing about all of that was they weren't practicing last week, but the NFL required them to put out a practice report based on what they would have done if they had practice. So they put Drake May as limited with the shoulder injury. He then, is the focus of all of the talk. Is he going to play? What's his shoulder going to be? Blah, 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 blah. That was last week, right? And now this week he's like, yeah, I'm totally fine. I feel great. I think this is more so a product of the NFL requiring teams now to be so exact with their injury report. Like with Sam Darnold going into the 49ers game, I don't think Sam Darnold gets put on the injury report if it was any other season. I think that is something that they did because of the enhanced scrutiny on the injury reports now. I think Eamon Warry as well probably wouldn't have made it on the injury report yesterday if this happened 5 years ago. But with the enhanced scrutiny on injury reports, in part because of betting and the rise of sports betting, injury reports are so much more important to the game. I don't think Eamon Warry would have been listed 5 years ago. So I do think take it with a grain of salt. And that is why I also believe that it's actually not all that bad. The fact that he's not in a boot, the fact that he walked off under his own power, the fact that he was walking into the team hotel under his own power with a slight limp, not a huge limp, but a slight limp. I'm there with you. I think he's going to play, and I think he's going to be a factor regardless.
Yeah, there's no chance. I don't see him not playing. I don't think as big of an opportunity as this game is, and like you said, the fact that there's no guarantee you go back to that ever or years from now, I don't see you passing that up on a sprained ankle. You tear something, that's one thing, but they've got enough cortisones and everything else. This gentleman will be running a 4 or 5 Sunday morning.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And then, yeah, I think us in the media were running with it because it's a Super Bowl storyline. It goes well with the NBA trade deadline and everything. So I think it might get hyped up a little bit more than it would have otherwise if this was, say, a Week 12 game. I do think it is something that just kind of gets latched in on. And it's the nature of the beast. It's the nature of the NFL. It's the nature of the Super Bowl. Chris, thank you so much for calling in. Have a great rest of your day. Can't wait to hear your Who's Talk tomorrow because I imagine you've got a hot take coming for Hot Take Friday for the Who's. Hopefully it's that they're going to win the national championship. Based off of his Sweet 16, we've slowly gotten a little bit further each and every time. Coming up later on in the show, joining at around 9:15, Brian Mitchell joins the show. Super Bowl 26 champion with Washington. He's co-host of the B. Mitch and Finley show up in D.C. He'll be chatting about, the experience he has. He brings something to the table that Alan and I sure don't. We've never played in a Super Bowl, what that lead up to the game is like, and then also pick his brain a little bit about the matchup at hand for Super Bowl 60. So Brian Mitchell, former Washington Redskins, Super Bowl 26 champion, joining at around 9:15 later on in hour number 2. You don't want to miss that one. In the meantime, let's update you with what you may have missed around the wide world of sports.
This is your Fitz the Bill morning update, getting you caught up on some of the biggest stories in sports.
All right, let's start in MLB. Framber Valdez signed a 3-year deal worth $115 million with the Detroit Tigers. The left-hander joins the Tigers, who are in the middle of an ongoing arbitration with AL Cy Young winner Tariq Skubal. In college football, Trinidad Chambliss' eligibility appeal was denied by the NCAA. We'll have more on this later in News or Snooze. In college basketball, there was a massive upset last night. There was 3 massive upsets last night, but the biggest one was the Portland Pilots, who came in at 10-14, 3-8 in WCC play. They upset the 6th-ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs, 87-80. It is Gonzaga's first loss to a team with a losing record since January of 2011. It was 141 straight wins. Keeping it local, Virginia Union last night, men's basketball dominated Winston-Salem State 76-49 at Barco Stevens. The Panthers are now 20-3 and are ranked 22nd in the latest NABC Division II poll. In the NFL, Jeff Stoutland, the acclaimed offensive line coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, he announced yesterday he is leaving the franchise via social media. In Super Bowl injury news, in addition to Eamon Warry's ankle injury, Sam Darnold said his oblique is good, and Drake May was a full participant in practice and said he feels, quote, great. In case you missed it, the Jets hired Frank Reich as their offensive coordinator. The Cardinals are hiring Nathaniel Hackett as their next OC under new coach Mike LaFleur, and the Steelers hired Brian Angelicchio as the offensive coordinator. He was most recently the Vikings passing game coordinator and tight ends coach. In the NBA last night, there was a flurry of trade moves, but first, let's take you around the league with some scores. The Knicks won a thriller 134-127 over the Nuggets in MSG in double overtime. Jalen Brunson finished with 42 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists. Jokic had a triple-double, 30 points, 14 boards, 10 assists, was not enough to push Denver to the win. The Timberwolves got a 2-point win over the Raptors north of the border. Anthony Edwards finished with 30 points, 8 rebounds, 3 steals. The Bucks got a 141-137 win over the Pelicans in overtime. The Spurs, they own the Thunder this season. A 116-106 win as Keon Johnson finished with 25 points, 6 rebounds. The Grizzlies got a road win over the Kings, 129-125. Ty Jerome for the Grizzlies finished with 28 points and 7 assists. And the Cavaliers got a 124-91 win over the Los Angeles Clippers. Donovan Mitchell filled it up with 29 points, 9 assists, and 4 steals. The headliner in trade news yesterday was Anthony Davis being moved to the Washington Wizards from the Dallas Mavericks. We'll break down that trade, what it means for the Wizards' trajectory, try to figure that all out, and so much more, all coming up next on Fitz the Bill.
Weather reports on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, brought to you by Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, a premier Lennox dealer. Online at HermanAllenPlumbing.com.
RVA's famous chicken and hog wild wings, specialty twist pizzas, and classic American bar food featured at West Cary Sports Bar, 2601 West Cary Street in the Fan. Online at WestCarySportsBar.com.
We put the O in flowers. Oh, it's Vogue.
Valentine's Day is next Saturday, February 14th, and you need to get flowers. Vogue Flower Market is the place for all your Valentine's Day needs. From stunning rose bouquets to elegant handmade arrangements by Richmond's premier local florist. We have every option to suit your budget with mixed bouquets starting at $14.95 at each of our locations. We understand the importance of every detail, and that's why Vogue offers hand delivery to surprise your special someone at home or work. Imagine the joy on their face when a professionally crafted arrangement arrives straight from the heart. Stop by one of Vogue's convenient locations, Parham Road near Patterson in the West End, or our flagship headquarters at Arthur Ashe Boulevard near Broad Street. Order today for delivery next week and get ahead of the game. Call to place your order at 804-353-9600. That's 804-353-9600, or go to VogueFlowers.com to order online.
We put the O in flowers. Oh, it's Vogue.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-793-8074 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-793-8074. That's 800-793-8074. What do you have to lose? Call 800-793-8074. Again, 800-793-8074.
1061 ESPN Traffic.
Expect delays heading south on 95 between Chamberlain Avenue and Bryant Park Interchange. There's been an accident heading north on 14th Street at East Broad Street. We're seeing some backup heading north on 288 between Midlothian Turnpike and Huguenot Trail. And there's been an accident on Hull Street Road near Chippenham Parkway.
If you want more than just the score, you'll find it here.
The Sports Huddle with Bob and Matt, weekdays 4 to 6.
I'd love to know what Wizards fans are jumping around this Thursday morning and what Wizards fans are tweaking an ankle like Nicky Manwari and laying down on the ground, sad about this trade. Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick. Alan alongside. The NBA trade deadline has given us so much to talk about. Of note, Giannis still not moved. John Morant still not moved. But we did see Anthony Davis get moved. What? Huh? Excuse me? Washington traded for who? They gave up Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley II, 2 firsts and 3 seconds to get Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum. All right. Let me just dive right into the grades. You ready for this, Alan?
I'm ready.
Give me the Wizards, I guess, a C. It's average. Like, it's fine. I wanted to be a little bit more aggressive and give them a D, but I'll be a little nice and C. I see the vision. Do I agree with the vision? No. Is it a little too aggressive for my liking for a team that I do not believe is done with the rebuild? Yeah, it's very too much aggressive. And for Dallas, I give them in a vacuum C, but all things considered, going back to the Luka trade a year ago, it's an F. Because you're telling me you got Luka and you turned him into Anthony Davis, which you then shipped out. So you've turned Luka Doncic into what? Chris Middleton and 2 firsts? And 2 firsts that won't be higher than the 29th or 21st pick. That's not good. So the Mavericks utterly failed. But for the Wizards, I guess it's a C. You're going to bench AD and Trae Young this season. That's what the reports are. So they'll sit out. You'll try and get another good draft pick. Hope you hit that one. But, I mean, AD next to Sarr. Sarr is he's a 5. Anthony Davis plays the 5. Feels like we're getting a little too much into. Defensively, they'll be good. Offensively, I'm not sure. I don't know what to make of this trade.
I think AD can go back to being a 4. I don't think he'll have a problem with that. That's not the issue. It's not where you put him.
Well, it's not that you're gonna have. It's gonna be that you don't have him.
Can he play?
Which no.
Can he give you
60 games?
I was gonna say 45, but yeah, 60 would be a blessing. Would be an absolute blessing. I just don't think it's worth it at this point, man. But the NBA still finds a lot of value in Anthony Davis. And again, if he stays healthy, it's 1,000% an upgrade. No matter who you're picking, he's the good player when he's healthy, but he has not been healthy pretty much the entirety of his career. I think he's missed like a fourth of his career has been spent.
Yeah, on the
injured.
bench.
Yeah, injured of some sort. And so it's like, what do you? Why even take the risk if you're the Wizards for that amount of money? The Mavericks saved $70 million getting rid of him. That's insane, and he only played like 26 games for them. And I'm not trying to point at people because people were hyper optimistic about this being some cool move, a good move by Nico because Luka's fat and lazy, and it was never a good move.
No,
it was never a good move.
And that's why Nico Harrison's been fired. Like that tells you all you need to know.
Nico fired, AD gone, and Cooper Flag is great, but yeah, that's about it.
It is an interesting move by Dallas. They're essentially punting on it, and they're saying, we don't even want to be competitive next season, because that was the eyes, right? Everyone was like, well, you could be competitive next year when you bring Kyrie back, and you could have a big 3 of Kyrie, AD, and Flag. They're electing to go, you know what? We're going to punt on all of that. We're just going to build now around Flag, give him a couple of years to develop, and then do it that way. So they moved off of AD. They'll likely move off of Kyrie this offseason, and then they'll try and bolster what they've got around Cooper. But for the Wizards, man, I don't get it. There's no part of this that I get.
Yeah, so the Mavericks also, just looking at their trade, it's kind of stupid.
I mean, you get
a 2026 first round pick from OKC is basically a second round pick, and then your 2030 first round pick for Golden State is top 20 protected. So I don't know if.
Yeah, no, 100%. The best it can be this year is 29th overall.
Yeah.
And then the 2030 pick that they got, the best it can be is 21st.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, you're getting 2 late round first round picks for Anthony Davis, which means nothing. And you get Chris Middleton, I guess.
It's kind of a hustle, man. That was kind of a hustle. But if it's a cash dump, then I guess it works.
It was a cash dump. Yeah. So as it stands now, the Mavericks are trying to get under the first apron. Mm-hmm. The Wizards now, after this trade, are actually closer to the first apron than the Mavericks are. So the Mavericks are trying to get out of it. And something that you hear a lot around this trade deadline is they're making moves for next offseason because in 2026-27, it's supposedly going to be a quote-unquote star-studded free agency class. I don't believe it.
I would be more inclined to keep my picks for 26 and 27 rather than depending on the free agency. Like I don't know. I mean, it's confusing, but it's a move, and to some, I think that would satisfy. But to me, I look at the Wizards just kind of spending a lot of money to eventually still be in the range where they would be drafting the next John Wall or something.
Yeah, like, does this move you enough? Does the trio of Alex Sarr, Anthony Davis, and Alex Sarr and Trae Young move you to think they are a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference next year? I don't think so. A top 6 team in the Eastern Conference? Maybe if you get AD for 75% of the season, but when was the last time AD did that? Yeah, I do not see the vision.
That was my biggest issue with this whole thing, is that a report came out that the Wizards did this because they wanted to show Trae Young that they were serious about improving. What? Well, Anthony Davis is not serious about improving at this stage in his career. He's oft injured.
Well, and let's be honest, right? Like, Trae Young, why are you trading for him to then have to prove to him that you are legit? He's a free agent this year. Like, both AD and him, you're going to have to try and rework contracts or work contracts around, because Anthony Davis, he's under contract for next season, but then he has a player option in 27-28. Trae Young, unrestricted free agent this offseason. There's a lot of questions around these two moves for the Wizards. I feel like they're trying to expedite their rebuild, which I know I can hear Reggie now, right? The rebuild, the 20-year rebuild that's in year 25. I hear Reggie saying that, but it felt like they had finally kind of settled in and they were on the right track. And now it feels like you're trying to, put the oven on broil, hoping that it's going to cook them faster, when I think you might just end up burning the top of everything.
Like, it's microwave. That's what it is.
It's a bad microwave. It's the cheapest microwave you can get. Let's go out to the phone lines. We've got Bruce on line 1 on the Radke Insurance phone line. Good morning, Bruce. How are we doing? How do you like this trade?
Good morning, Fitz. Good morning, Alan. I'm a little bit, I stand in favor of the trade, but it's so comical, guys. Alan gives me the assignment yesterday. Go to National Harbor and make the bet on Travion. So obviously, yesterday was my born day. I have some freedom. I'm going to drive up there. In doing such, I'm listening to 980, 105.1 in Northern Virginia. And these guys, these Wizards fans are staunch. We need to make a move with our team. We're a young core. We got talent. We got Trey sitting on the bench. We need a move. So by the time I go in, come back out, the trade is done. The whole volume of calls totally changed in DC land. The whole energy is different. Oh, yeah, we got AD. So I'm checking. Alan has posted it, and I'm chiming back and forth with Alan. Man, y'all need to hear what they saying in D.C.
So, now, hey, Bruce, real quick, let me stop you here. As a lifelong Virginian, and I know people listen to my voice right now, they know exactly where I'm going with this. I'm 40. For 40 years, I've heard D.C. fans hype up Bruce Smith, Deion Sanders, all these guys post their prime getting picked up by Washington franchises. I don't want to hear that BS right now. AD is past his prime. He's past his prime. The fans always get hype about this crap, and in less than 2 years, they get upset because it's wasteful.
Trae Young, low-key, hasn't really lived up to his prime either.
Wasteful.
It's Trae Young, a guy who he shined bright like a supernova, and he has burst. He has not lived up to it. He's not continued it. And you've got AD, who's oft injured, dealing with a hand sprain now. He's been out for the last month, and you're hoping moving forward,
This could be the Wizards' Albert Hainsworth. This is exactly what it could be.
It could be a lot of these. Like you could go through a long list.
Yeah, a long list of people picked up who are showing you that they're not what they used to be.
It could be their Sean Alexander.
Yeah. So I need to see him. I need to see him healthy. We need to set a benchmark for expectations on games played next
if you
year.
trade for him and you are saying, I want to build my franchise around the core of Trae Young, Anthony Davis, and Alex Sarr, I'm going to need 75% of games played by Anthony Davis next year. If I don't get that, it's a failure of a trade.
You'll never get that.
And I understand. Look, Washington did not give up a lot. Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley II. You didn't give up anything. But what you did do is you put yourself in a tough spot in terms of salary management because Anthony Davis, he's due $54 million for the remainder of this year, or not $54 million, but he's due the remainder of what was $54 million. He's due $58 million next year, and if he picks up his player option in 2027-28, that's $63 million. So you went from a spot where you were primed to have all the cap space in the world in 26-27 and 27-28, and you've kind of hamstrung yourself a little bit by putting over $100 million in salary on your cap with the acquisition of Anthony Davis and Trae Young. That's where I get a little iffy because if the free agency class of 26-27 is as good as they're hyping it up, if it does end up, having 15 unrestricted free agents, all of which are stars, then they may have just accidentally priced themselves out of landing a star.
Maybe, maybe not. Because
Yeah, maybe not.
One of the things that maybe what you're leaving off is this new NBA deal with, so every year, guys, it is projected the cap is going to go up. The Players Association has put that in the mix. So every year as revenue comes into these owners, they have to share it amongst their players. And so, I see it a little bit different, Fitz. I see the Wizards and their general manager getting ahead. Hey, we know what's on the books. This is where we can go in 2027 and 2028. So we have more room now. We get a healthy AD here. We get a Trae Young who can kick and pop. We now can bring others.
Yeah,
So
but it's a big if. That's my issue. It's a big if. If we get a healthy AD, history shows me you're not getting a healthy AD.
I just wanted to laugh this morning, man, because I knew Allen was going to go in.
Hey,
I knew
you gotta.
I do love
Bruce, you gotta laugh because your OKC Thunder still got that problem in San Antonio, buddy. What's going on, man? I feel like we're in February and I'm still saying the same thing I was saying in December.
Yeah.
When they gonna figure that riddle out? Because Bruce, listen to me. In a 7-game series, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know how it plays out. They will find a way to have this a series. And that's just how life works. They've got to overcome that. And SGA is getting nicked up.
SGA's out until after the All-Star break.
I think he just didn't want any parts of Wemby. That's what it was.
Go back to Fitz and my comments at the start of the year. I know you guys are saying it's not going to happen. I already know that. But what if we heard at 1:55 today, major breaking news, Giannis has agreed to be traded to the San Antonio Spurs. I'm just saying, what if? Watch this news, guys.
It'll cost too much.
What if? I mean, San Antonio all of a sudden becomes the best team in the Western Conference, but they give up a lot of their future, and do they want to do that? I think I'm still in the Minnesota Timberwolves camp.
You can't make that move without giving up Castle, and you can't give up Castle.
No, they're not giving up Castle.
Yeah, so I don't see how it happens.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna be, because them Spurs, man. We watched a little bit. I mean, they were winning back. Well, it was, 3 players on the bench for OKC. So, I mean, it was 8 players that dressed last night for OKC. But the Spurs were winning by, 30 points. I just, it's something out there. Why hasn't something been done unless Giannis is going to stay in Milwaukee? I think
Well, I mean, that
Milwaukee wants.
Occam's razor, right? The
Milwaukee
simplest answer is going to be the answer, right? Like, I think he's probably going to stay in Milwaukee. I don't think, right? I think Milwaukee's going to fumble this bag. They're going to keep him until the offseason, and then they're going to trade him this offseason and get pennies on the dollar for what they could have gotten because they're probably demanding too much. They want a current star, they want a future star, and they want picks. You're not getting that for Giannis, who's dealing with injuries this year and who hasn't had an MVP caliber season for the last 3-4 years. Look, I think Milwaukee's going to end up keeping Giannis, and they're going to regret it.
Milwaukee wants a king's ransom,
Yep.
as you referenced, and I think there are teams that can offer them a king's ransom. And I think those two teams are the two teams we saw last season, OKC and San Antonio. Which one will you got your poker face on? Which one is?
I'm going to go with what Bruce was saying. I'm going to say neither. Neither one's going to make that move. But we got to get to a break here real quick. Thank you so much for calling in, Bruce. Have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll be back with News or Snooze coming up on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
Bonaire Shell is family-owned and operated and has been serving the Richmond community for over 20 years. At Bonaire Shell, you'll find old-school service with modern-day technology. And our certified technicians will get you back on the road in no time. Stop by for a quick fill-up, shop for new tires, ask us about a check engine light, or let us help with any of your auto service needs. Find us at 8762 Huguenot Road near the historic Bonaire section of Southside and online at bonaireshell.com.
Weather reports on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, brought to you by Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, a premier Lennox dealer. Online at hermanallenplumbing.com.
Richmonders love Pella, Virginia, and it's easy to see why. Pella gives you more, so you can feel confident choosing us for your window and door projects. While other companies may offer just one or two options, Pella has a full range: wood, vinyl, and fiberglass, so you get quality and customization, not just a quick fix. When you choose Pella, we'll handle everything from order to installation. Right now, get 50% off qualifying installations or 0% APR for 48 months. Find out more at PellaVirginia.com. Some restrictions apply.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, with an auto warranty about to expire, or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-206-0781. Drivers who are covered will not pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-206-0781. That's 800-206-0781. What do you have to lose? Call 800-206-0781. Again, 800-206-0781.
Hi, Leif Erickson for SnowCountry.com. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Cooler temperatures ride out the rest of this week as we get colder this weekend, and snow crews will certainly return to resurfacing the trails and piling on the bases with around-the-clock snowmaking where possible. We could even see a little natural snow tomorrow right before the weekend to give us a nice fresh coating. We've got Massanutten at 23 trails, 100% open, still continuing their snowmaking efforts on key trails at Massanutten. Plus, they've got 12 tubing lanes for some fun downhill action. Bryce Resort with a dozen trails, 9 to 4:30 on Thursdays. They'll open it up to some night skiing for Friday and Saturday at Bryce. The Homestead with 6 scenic runs. Wintergreen, 27 trails, officially 100% open across all mountain faces. Wisp, Maryland, 31 runs. Snowshoe, 58 trails, including their steep western territory. More at snowcountry.com. Leif Erickson for 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
106.1 ESPN weather.
It's currently 29 degrees and mostly cloudy with a slight breeze coming in from the north, averaging from 2 to 6 miles an hour. We're expecting a mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 39 and lows dropping down tonight with a low of 20. Taking a look at tomorrow, we're seeing a high of 38 with a low of 24 with some light flurries in the late afternoon.
Coming up on the next edition of the Sports Huddle with Matt and Bob, we'll talk Randolph-Macon basketball with their head coach, and we'll release our top 5 in the state of Virginia. Has there been any movement? You'll find out 5:15 on Thursday, 106.1 ESPN.
Hey, it's Delvin Joyce, JMU Hall of Famer and former New York Giant.
Listen, make sure you tune in to Talkin' Dukes every Wednesday on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. Go Dukes.
News
Read all about it.
or snooze.
All right, news or snooze on this Thursday morning. Number one, Knicks have now won 8 in a row following a double overtime win last night. Newsworthy, but not for the reason you think it is. It is newsworthy for its impact on the Giannis sweepstakes. I believe this is giving the Knicks enough faith in the team that they have currently constructed that they don't need to go out and they get him. Because if you think about it, right, the New York Knicks did start the season as one of the best teams in the NBA. They won Allen's favorite trophy, the NBA Cup.
Oh, yeah,
we all know how he feels about the NBA Cup.
Can't have a legacy without that.
Exactly. I mean, look at LeBron. He's the GOAT because he's got an NBA Cup underneath his.
You get your NBA championship, your NBA Cup, and collect as many gold medals as you can.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Yeah,
but I think this 8-game win streak, I think, has given them hope that they are able to build around this core of Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, with Mikal Bridges in there, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, all of those guys. I believe this 8-game win streak, not so much for what it's doing on the court, but I think it's going to have huge impact off the court where they're pulling themselves out silently of the Giannis sweepstakes.
So my question to the Knicks would be, why are you interested in Giannis? Because winning basketball games, you're going to do that regardless.
Yes.
If it's because you want a better defensive presence, then you're still going to be interested in Giannis, no matter what's going on right now. Because guess what? I have a hunch that you wanted Giannis because Cat doesn't fill certain spots for your needs. And that's not going to change, even if you're winning basketball games. Cat is who he is. Giannis is who he is. So if your preference is Giannis, don't leave the sweepstakes because you're winning games. Because I don't think that matters in the sense of we're making this trade because we need to win basketball games. I think they were making that trade because they want it to be better. And this isn't better because you're sticking with the same thing you've always had. So I wouldn't get off the sweepstakes if I were them.
Yeah, currently the New York Knicks rank 13th in the league in defensive rating. They've got a 113.2 defensive rating. Their net rating is 6, which is among the top 5 in the league. But their defense does leave a little bit to be desired. The Giannis trade would, in theory, help bolster that a little bit more. But I think just the wins on the court, they're getting them, and they still look. We talked about it yesterday. The Cavaliers are one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference now after trading for James Harden. But I think them and the Knicks are the two teams I'm worrying about in the Eastern.
Hey, also a little bit of history for you, because I did watch the game last night. I can't believe I said that.
Double overtime thriller against the Nuggets.
I know. But Jalen Brunson passed Carmelo Anthony for most 40-point games as a Knick.
Wow.
And he's behind Bernard King and Patrick Ewing right now. I think he's third on the list. That's impressive.
That's really impressive.
Yeah,
that's in what, 3 seasons?
Yeah, for the small time frame that he was there. I know there was a question last year, would he be considered an all-time Knick based on what he's done so far, and I fought back on it, but I don't know. I think I'm changing my mind here.
If Carmelo's considered an all-time Knick, which he is and which he should be, Jalen Brunson should be.
For sure.
Jalen Brunson took him farther than Carmelo ever did.
Still mad Brunson Burner didn't catch on.
Just give it time.
I know.
Just give it time. Let him get hot one more time in the playoffs. Number 2, NCAA denies appeal for Ole Miss quarterback Chambliss. Newsworthy. Chambliss currently trying to get a 6th year of eligibility stemming from his 2nd season with Division II Ferris State. Chambliss redshirted his true freshman year, then did not play in 2022 as he was dealing with an injury. I want you to guess what the NCAA said, Alan. It is crazy. Absolutely crazy why they're denying his appeal.
I have no idea, actually, because I really thought that he would get it.
So they're saying he lacks the proper medical documentation to prove that he was injured in 2022. Ole Miss's rebuttal to that is you can literally watch any game and see him in street clothes on the sideline for the entire season. He did not dress because he was hurt. And then the NCAA took it another step further and said, well, if he had gotten surgery, he would have been able to play that season, but he went with the medication route, which made him miss the entire season. That's his own fault and his own decision.
Well, that is revolutionary and new. What?
So I guess the NCAA is both the judge, jury, and executioner in this case, where they are saying you could have done something differently that you did not do. Also, if you can get healthy by going the medication route, go the medication route. Why would you want surgery?
Yeah, I don't know many people that volunteer to be cut open. But also, this is why Ole Miss keeps sliding into people's DMs and taking their players. Look at how the NCAA is treating. You're creating a monster. Like, seriously, they can't.
It's the Green Goblin.
Yeah, they couldn't get help with the LSU situation. Now they can't get help with their current players. So yeah, when they start flexing in people's DMs and taking their players in the middle of them signing things, this is what you get. They gotta compete. You're not allowing them to compete.
Look, I don't agree with the Diego Pavia or Joey Aguilar lawsuits against the NCAA, but Trinidad Chambliss, I agree with. And I feel bad for him a little bit because he's being lumped in with Diego Pavia and Joey Aguilar. His scenario is completely different from them. They're suing on the fact that we play JUCO. JUCO shouldn't count. You're impacting our ability to make money. Whereas Trinidad Chambliss is just like, hey, NCAA, I didn't play this season because I was hurt. And the NCAA is like, here's the middle finger.
Yeah.
No.
And they also turn into doctors and it was like, well, technically.
Yeah, technically, if you had gotten surgery, you would have healed and been able to play half the season. But you decided you wanted to go with the medication route. That made you miss the whole entire season. Meanwhile, Ole Miss is over here arguing that he did, quote, this was a direct quote from Ole Miss. I love the drama here. Quote, did not dress for a single game while suffering from severe, incapacitating medical conditions. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Newsworthy, though. The fact that they denied it. Ole Miss is in the process now of, look, they're an injunction. They have filed for an injunction in state court in Mississippi. A lot of ins there. But so we had the first waiver get denied on January 9th. The appeal was just denied. And now his attorneys have filed for an injunction in Mississippi. So this isn't over.
Yeah, I mean, their best bet is to file for an injunction in Mississippi.
Yeah, 100. And you got to hope that the Charles Bediako situation where an Alabama donor was the sitting judge. Maybe you can do your little Hail Marys and hope you get a Ole Miss donor as your sitting judge.
Yeah, I mean, Ole Miss has got pretty good reach.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Third one, Jeff Stoutland, the Eagles offensive line coach, won't return to team in 2026.
Extra, read all about it.
That is, I don't think the general fan knows how important Jeff Stoutland has been to the Eagles'
I don't think the
success.
general fan knows how important their offensive line coach is.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes beyond the pale of cliche. Like, seriously, like, these people are the glue. That's tough. Like, give you a prime example. Unfortunately, the Baltimore Ravens offensive line coach passed away. It took some time for them to transition into not necessarily a new philosophy, but just having a different voice. Like, it took some games to get used to that.
There is a legitimate argument that your offensive line coach is your second most important coach on staff. Like behind your head coach. There is an argument out there that the importance of coaches goes head coach, offensive line coach, then your coordinators. And Stoutland was the best offensive line coach in the NFL. There's a reason why he was an Eagles offensive line coach beginning in 2013 under Chip Kelly. And there's a reason Doug Peterson retained him. There's a reason Sirianni's now retained him. And there was a reason why this is such a big news now. Did I miss a coach in there? I went Chip Kelly into Doug Peterson into Nick Sirianni, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah, and he's been retained from each and every one of them. The offensive line has been one of the best, if not the best, over the last 13 years. The team has averaged 10 wins per season. He's helped them win 2 Super Bowls, make it there 3 times. And did you hear why he left, or one of the reasons why people are speculating he left?
Why?
He butted heads with Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni apparently kind of took away his run game, or last season when they were sputtering, Stoutland became the run game coordinator in 2018. So he's been creating the rushing attacks for the last, 8 years, 7 years. One of those years, it just so happened that Saquon Barkley was the best running back we've seen in a long time. And that was because of the Stoutland's rushing attack. And then last year when they were sputtering, Kevin Petula and Nick Sirianni changed the way that they were approaching the run game, essentially taking that duty away from Stoutland. And Stoutland said, all right, take my title away then, because you guys aren't doing what I'm doing. You guys are completely changing how I want to run this. Sirianni and Petula did that. He then was no longer the run game coordinator. And this offseason, seems like that may have come to a head a little bit.
That's crazy, man.
He's upset. His agent said last week to ESPN that he was frustrated with how the season transpired, with his voice not being heard within the organization, and said last week there was a chance he could move on.
So I'm glad you said it, because my next question was, is he open to another job? Because I know a team that would love to have him.
So the reports are he will take this year off, but he's not retiring.
Okay. That's unfortunate. He takes the year off. But I was going to say, if you really want to know about the importance of a guy like that and what he can do, look at Jordan Mailata.
Yes.
Like he was not a polished offensive lineman. I'm sorry. A lot of red flags with him.
You don't have to apologize.
He was a massive, massive man, and he turned that guy into a stud in less than a season. Like he worked with him extensively and helped him with his technique and stuff. And I mean that part of the wall that is the Eagles that we know is because he could take guys like that, because he could take a Mekhi Becton and put him in this at guard and get the most out of them.
I don't want to like besmirch Mekhi's name because he's an 804 legend, right? But his best season came when he played with Jeff Stoutland.
Yeah.
He then went to the Chargers, and he had one of his worst career years over there in L.A. Now, there's a lot of extenuating circumstances, of course. He was playing with a different left tackle each and every game. He was playing with a different right tackle each and every game. But he did see some regression when he left Jeff Stoutland. That's the type of impact Stoutland makes.
Yeah, and it just looked like the Eagles fit his offensive eye a little bit. That does matter for offensive linemen. You don't want guys in schemes that don't fit their skill sets, and they were taking advantage of his athleticism as a guard. And that's part of the reason why they had so much success on the run ground. It's like they had guys like him, as big as Mailata, that could move, and they got them out moving.
Well, he also made Jason Kelce into Jason Kelce.
Yeah.
Like a 5'10", 290-pound center in the NFL doesn't work. That's not supposed to work.
Kelce was a stud, man.
And Kelce turned into one of the best centers of this generation.
I love him, man. It's unfortunate that it didn't work out for the Eagles, and they will definitely miss him more so than any offensive coordinator or anything else they got going on. That's a blow.
Like if I'm Sirianni, I'm trying to keep Stoutland any way possible.
Yeah, you got to make it right.
If that means I've got to fire the offensive coordinator I just hired, that means I'm firing the offensive coordinator I just hired, and I'm making him the offensive coordinator. I wonder if Stoutland's a little upset that he didn't even get looked for the OC job. Like I don't know what's happening inside the walls of the Eagles facility. But you've got to really make Jeff Stoutland mad. For a guy that's been on staff since 2013, he's been through one head coach, two head coach, three head coach, and they've all retained him. That speaks volumes on Stoutland, and Sirianni must have done something crazy. And this is why I don't think Sirianni's a great coach. He's not a great melder of personalities. He's a hyper-aggressive dude that seemingly rubs a lot of people the wrong way inside the facility. And this loss is going to be evident throughout next season. The Eagles' offensive line is going to look different. Mailata probably will take a step back. Lane Johnson may retire this offseason.
That would definitely hurt.
Like, Lane Johnson might retire because of this. Does Lane Johnson want to learn a new offensive line scheme? I don't know. The dude's 40. Changes everything.
Yeah.
Completely changes
everything. That would stink
everything.
if he retires. Real quick, because I know we're coming up on the top of the hour, we have a text on the Racky Insurance text line. Big Body Brunson is the real deal. I did not know how good Jalen Brunson was in Dallas Mavericks land. Why don't we talk more about that?
Look,
that's from Bruce.
Big Body Brunson, change that to Brunson Burner, and then we can talk about it. Look,
Well,
we're really trying to make Brunson Burner stick over here.
Is this a safe space? That's my next question.
Yeah.
All right.
The Mavericks should have never gotten rid of Jalen Brunson?
No. The reason why we don't talk about it is because in order to talk about it, you then have to admit
the Knicks did good by signing him?
Not only did the Knicks do good, but Luka Doncic is a lot like LeBron. Not a lot of guys can play with them.
No, I don't think,
like certain skill sets.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
With them.
You're very right. Like Luka and Jalen Brunson did not mesh well together.
Yeah, you would have to admit some limitations to the superstar.
I think it's very fair. I think every single player in the league has some sort of limitations. LeBron's great. He's got limitations. He's tough to play with. Luka's great. He's tough to play with. Two things can be true. And Brunson, I think then, shout out to the Knicks for noticing that he had that star potential and being willing to kind of hitch the wagon of their franchise to him. And he's led them to the Eastern Conference Finals. And now all of a sudden, they're looking like a dangerous team in the midst of an 8-game win streak to make a run again in the playoffs. I think Brunson's fantastic. I also think, I believe some of the disrespect that Brunson gets comes because he's from Villanova. I think it's because he's a second-round draft pick. I think some of that's coming into it as well. Same with Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell was not a high-end lottery guy. I think we disrespect guys that don't come out from the big, huge power programs that are a lottery pick.
Yeah, Brunson also has that stigma. He's a small guard. And you're not supposed to be able to win with small guards in the NBA.
Yeah, except this small guard is averaging 27 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists this season on just shy of 50% shooting. I'll take that any day of the week, twice on Sunday. That's pretty darn good. All right, hour number 2 is coming up. Brian Mitchell, Super Bowl 26 champion, former Washington Redskin, will be joining us at 9:15 to chat about the Super Bowl, chat about his experience as well. He's the co-host of the B. Mitch and Finley Show on 106.7 up in D.C. That's coming up at 9:15 right here on Fitz the Bill.
Hey, it's Delvin Joyce, JMU Hall of Famer and former New York Giant. Listen, make sure you tune in to Talkin' Dukes every Wednesday on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. Go Dukes!
Your trash is treasure at CNC Colored Recycling. From copper wire to radiator ends, cans to lead batteries, CNC Colored Recycling will pay cash or check for your unwanted scrap metal. No load is too large or too small. Don't dump it, recycle it, and get paid at CNC Colored Recycling, just south of Maple Street on Route 1 in Ashland. Free local container service is available too. CNC Colored Recycling, open every weekday and a half day on Saturday. Check the latest cash scrap prices online right now at cccullet.com. That's CCCULLET.
All Americans should do what they can to prepare for the future. Donald Trump Jr. here with an important message. More and more Americans are looking for ways to diversify their hard-earned money, and gold is the perfect solution. For example, a gold IRA from my trusted friends at the Birch Gold Group lets you diversify your IRA or 401k into physical gold with zero taxes and zero penalties. You stay in control with a tangible asset that's held value for thousands of years. And right now, Birch Gold is offering a free info kit to help you understand how it works. Just text the word SECURE, SECURE, to 989898. There's no pressure, no obligation, just the facts. You can't predict the future, but you can be prepared, but only if you educate yourself. So take that first step right now. Text SECURE to the number 989898 today. That's SECURE to 989898.
This is advertising material.
Hi, this is John from your insurance company. We received your claim, and we're denying your coverage.
They think you'll give up. They're wrong. Alexander Schnarr trial attorneys have made insurance companies pay over $2 billion. It's your turn. They fight while you heal. Over 250,000 clients. Alexander Schnarr trial attorneys. Call now for a free consultation. 877-222-6666 or alexwins.law. Past results do not guarantee future outcomes. Every case is different. Phil George's licensed attorney in Virginia is responsible for legal work. Office is located at 500 East Main Street, Suite 1600-113, Norfolk, Virginia, 23510.
Your home for Richmond Spiders athletics all year round.
W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV HD2 Richmond.
We are 106.1 ESPN.
The second hour of Fitz the Bill is brought to you by Birdie Golf. Tired of paying premium prices for big-name golf balls that overpromise and underdeliver? Step up your game with Birdie Golf. Learn more about a local company at birdiegolf.com. Change out the I's for ones, and you're there. That's B1RD1E golf.com. Birdie Golf.
You're listening to the second hour of Fitz the Bill on 106.1 ESPN.
Fitz the Bill. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, Allen alongside right here on ESPN Richmond, the ESPN Richmond app, and ESPNRichmond.com. Also streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you want to watch the stream live, just type in ESPN Richmond. We'll pop right on up, and you can watch the stream, and you can be part of it as well. You can also call in 804-327-0888 on the Radkey Insurance phone line, radkeyinsurance.com, to get started on your free quote today. Alan, there was a Nick Eamon-Warry injury. Is this something that I'm overreacting to or underreacting to? We have our underhype, overhype segment each and every day leading up to the Super Bowl. For Nick Eamon-Warry, I feel like this is something that we might be overhyping a little bit because he did leave practice. However, he left practice, but he walked off under his own power. He looked fine.
Yeah, it's him walking off on his own power, and you obviously having proof that he was like limping a little. Makes you more comfortable because, again, if he couldn't put weight on it and stuff like that, the healing process would take longer. If it makes you feel better, I do have somebody that's out there covering the game. I can text them and see if they can get us some information. Okay. Like, seriously. As a matter of fact, she went to the same high school as Nick, so she interviewed him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
really?
So there's a connection there. But like I said, I didn't think it was that serious. They have to report everything, like you kind of talked about this morning. Like, it's a different time.
That's the thing with these injury reports now. With the rise in sports betting, these injury reports are coming such a big part of it where they don't want any inside information being leaked. So every little thing has to be put on the injury reports. So like Sam Darnold leading into the 49ers game, I don't think he's on the injury report 2, 3, 4 years ago with that oblique injury. This year, Nick Eamon-Warry, he leaves practice. I don't know if he's listed as limited if this was 5 years ago. I think he's listed as a participant. And then maybe on today's practice report, he comes up as questionable or limited or something along those lines. But we just get so much more information than we did in the past. But if he's not able to go, that is a huge blow to the Seahawks defense. Huge blow to the Seahawks defense. 31% difference between him on the field and off the field in terms of EPA allowed. He's played 68% of the team snaps. He is massively important to everything the Seahawks do defensively. Swiss Army knife. We ranked him yesterday as the third best player in our top 10 players in this year's Super Bowl. I don't think that's an overreaction. I think he is that important to the team. He is look, he's the straw that stirs the drink, right? And if he's not able to go, that's huge. But Chris called it in hour number one. I think he said something really true, right? It's the dang Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You're going. Unless you got to amputate the ankle, you're going.
Yeah, I hate to pivot like this, but have you seen all this nonsense about Brady not backing the Patriots? Why is this news?
Really?
Yeah, because
snooze. That's snooze.
Because he said he didn't have a dog in the fight, and now like Vince Wilfork and Asante Samuels are all up in arms and saying he's hating on Mike Vrabel and stuff. And I did hear it on Sportsmanlike this morning when I was driving in. Like, they had a whole full-blown conversation about it. But I'm like, I don't know if he's in a capacity where he should be so, like, pro-Patriot.
So his full comments on his podcast, and it's a couple of paragraphs.
Brady has a podcast?
Who doesn't have a podcast,
That's
Alan?
true.
Who does not have a podcast? He said, quote, I think there's always different chapters in your life, and you have different chapters and moments that you go through where you're affiliated with a certain team. Michigan, and then I was the Patriots for 20 years. I was with Tampa for 3 amazing years. I've been broadcasting now. I'm an owner now of the Raiders. So those memories that I have are forever ingrained in me, and I'm indebted to all the people who work so hard to help make our team successful. But essentially, he's just saying he's in a different phase of his life.
Exactly.
He's more like that's a spot where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? Like, if he says he's back in the Patriots, you know what the Raiders do? Hey, you're our guy.
Yeah.
What do you mean? And then
why can't his teammates or former teammates understand? That's what's bothering me. Like, why is everybody making this out to be like he's hating or jealous? Like, he can't, from a business standpoint, is in his best interest.
I completely get why Tom Brady is not saying, go Patriots, go Pats, go.
It's in his best interest. Like John Lynch, he's with the Niners. I've not heard him hype up Tampa or Denver in anything.
And he shouldn't.
Yeah.
Because those are his foes, right? Like, And more so, like, you can maybe understand it a little if John Lynch hyped up the Broncos, right? NFC, AFC, not as much like a head-on-head collision. But the Raiders and the Patriots, AFC, and, oh, by the way, isn't it kind of fitting that Brady is with the Raiders, the team with the Tuck rule that
Yeah, I was
launched
gonna say
the
that
dynasty?
yeah.
But there's already that little animosity there, too. So if I'm Brady, I think he played it right. Like,
Although they've moved 2 cities since then. Were they Oakland then?
I think they were Oakland.
Or were they
then.
Los Angeles?
They may have been. No, they were Oakland.
Okay.
They were Oakland. But feels like. Isn't it funny that the biggest and most influential team in terms of NFL in LA is the Raiders? A team that has not been there for 20, 30 years.
You know why, though? It's iconic.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I
It is
think
iconic.
I think NWA and all these other, like, West Coast, to me, football is Raiders. And I'm a Niners fan. But it's iconic.
Well, the 49ers have a bigger the foothold in LA than even the Rams.
But like, you know, like the cool in my culture is more so geared to the Raiders.
Yes. Yeah. No, I understand. Could you imagine though if he was like, you know what, go Patriots?
I know,
this
right?
is awesome. If I'm Mark Davis, I'm a little upset if Brady does that.
I mean, Mark probably could be upset, but Mark doesn't have much power.
Brady also is like, he's not broadcasting the Super Bowl, right? So
No.
like he finished his final game in the NFC Championship. You know, he closed his broadcasting book, and you know what he did? I imagine Brady went full on. How do we attack this offseason and build this Raiders team up? What coach are we getting? What quarterback should we get? How do we approach it? And he probably has not even thought about the Super Bowl. I think Tom Brady is full on in executive mode, and he's trying to buck the trend of being one of the greatest players ever to play and then being one of the greatest executives. Because we all know how I feel about great players moving into front office or coaching roles.
Yeah, and this idea that he's feeling some kind of like infringement on his legacy with the Patriots, even if they win a Super Bowl without him being there, he did it first. He went to Tampa and won his Super Bowl without without Robert Kraft and Belichick and things like that. So I don't think it matters.
Dare I say he's bigger than the Patriots? Like Vince Wilfork, all of the guys that are mad at him for saying this, they are the Patriots. They were part of that dynasty.
Yeah.
Brady is not that dynasty because Brady went on to win with the Bucks. Tom Brady is more than just the Patriots.
I think putting it that way, he's more than just the Patriots. And in some capacity, he is bigger than the brand of the Patriots because, again, there's a healthy argument made by a lot of people that the only reason why they won their Super Bowls is because of Tom Brady, which I don't necessarily agree with. But, again, that conversation is already being had in real time right now. When it's time for him to go to the Hall of Fame, again, I am predicting we will find out that, yes, he is bigger than all the scandals and the hoopla because he ain't going to have no problems getting in because there'll be a riot. So I'm just saying, I think these guys are kind of mad because he's not using his platform to kind of, pump up the Patriots, and they're kind of under this mindset that maybe he owes it to the Patriots. Like the Patriots, I don't think he does either, but I'm thinking from Asante and Vince's standpoint, they're like,
Asante Samuel just talks too.
Yeah, he does. He really does.
Yeah, you say, oh yeah, that's true. That's valid. He just always is talking.
So. But like I said, I don't understand the hoopla behind it. The guy is a brand. Again, like Jordan when he was with the Hornets, didn't hear him doing a whole lot of Bulls talk, and he literally made the franchise.
Shoot, I mean, I think when I think Jordan, I think Wizards at this point in his career. You know what I mean?
Well, even when he was with the Wizards, yeah, same thing. He didn't do a whole lot of Bulls talk.
No, because I think Brady's right, where you do have different chapters in your life. There was a chapter where he was full on New England. He's now in the chapter where he's full on broadcaster and full on Raider. That's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
You adapt, you grow, you do things like that. And I, for one, am glad he's not playing in this Super Bowl. As a Seahawks fan, he won't rip my heart out like he did in Super Bowl 49.
Well, yeah. I didn't have any moments with Brady. Patrick Mahomes is my boogeyman.
Yeah,
that's my boogeyman.
Hey, two very valid boogeymen for us to have as fans of our team.
Can't stand it.
Brady's, man, that was the worst experience of my life.
I could imagine.
Not actually, but I'm being a little hyperbolic. But man, that was not a good night. It was funny because Super Bowl 49, right? I invited friends over. My mom and I had friends over. And I was so excited when they got up. I think it was 10 points there in the third quarter. And I was like, we're about to have a good party after this one. everything fell apart after that. Real tough.
I've learned not to get excited when my team has a lead in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for you. Yeah, that's tough.
I hate Patrick Mahomes. Let's change the subject.
Hey, all right. We'll go back to the injury front and how Seattle's defense may adapt without Eamon on the field because they did not experience it a whole lot in the regular season. Eamon played 68% of the team snaps this season. He did miss a couple of games with an ankle injury, which is also why I think fans, media, and the coaching staff are so worried about this because we don't know if it is the same ankle. I believe it is a different ankle. It's the different ankle, like you have multiple different ankles. I think it's the other ankle, but that is not confirmed. But if he's not able to go, that changes the entire makeup of the Seahawks defense. They've used Eamon down in the box. They've used him as a cover man. They've used him absolutely everywhere on the field. You lose him, you then all of a sudden are going to have to bring in different sub packages. It changes how you substitute throughout the game. Do you bring in an extra defensive back to replace him? Do you beef up with a linebacker to try and stop Ramondre Stevenson, who's been getting a heavy workload over these last couple of games? But if you bring in a linebacker, Travion Henderson has the breakaway ability to maybe try and bust a couple on the corner, something Eamon would be able to catch up to. It is a tough spot for Mike McDonald to be in. I don't expect Eamon to miss games or miss the game, but there is that potential out there after he rolled his ankle.
So you talked about how it could potentially change the makeup of the team from a gambling standpoint. So everybody knows there's no player that's not a quarterback that's going to move the line more than a point. Yeah, it's not even that.
I don't even know if this would have moved it half a point.
Yeah, I don't think it would either.
Because it's not really also like all of the video and stuff that's coming out of it. It's limited participant as it stands now. The video, which Vegas is using, it shows that it's fine.
Yeah. So from a schematic standpoint, I would imagine where it hurts the Seahawks the most is that you would have to give a different look pre-snap.
Yeah.
Probably makes it easier to read the defense because you won't take such an aggressive posture when you have a guy that, doesn't necessarily operate in the box. You're not going to bring him down a lot.
Yeah.
Like Nick Eamon is to the secondary, what we see with JSN and a lot of versatile receivers. Like he's all over the place. And so there are some times where he's in a position where you think he is a linebacker based on where he is pre-snap.
Yeah.
And, once the ball is snapped, he can be aggressive. He probably gets a lot more freedom than a lot of other players would in that
kind
position.
Of a floater.
Yeah.
Like he's just and they don't have another guy to have that type of
So
faith
you would just have to as a defense back in the secondary, you just got to play it honest.
Yeah.
I think for Coach McDonald, he would just be concerned because he can't give those exotic looking looks like when they come in and they've got the A gap presence where they got the two guys in the A gap like they're going to shoot the gaps.
Yeah.
And it looks like 7 or 8 are coming. Like he can't do that kind of thing without Nick because Nick can get back into position or Nick can actually blitz from that position. You'll see quarterbacks sometimes, they will call that kind of stuff out. He's not coming because they know they've seen enough film. That ain't his style. He ain't going to do nothing. And it makes it easier for them to read. So it would stunt the creativity. But I don't think the overall game plan changes on how they use their personnel.
I think it would just impact how defensive. It will change a little bit, but not enough to really sway the entire game. But it would be a huge loss. All right, let's get a break in here. We'll step aside. Brian Mitchell, Super Bowl 26 champion with Washington, current co-host of B. Mitch and Finley on 106.7 up in D.C. He'll be joining us on the other side of the break to talk a little Super Bowl on this Thursday morning. You're listening to Fitz the Bill on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
This is the sound of love. This is the sound of love.
I love you.
This is not the sound of love. Since February is the month of love, let Robinson's Plumbing help you show your happy home some love with an annual maintenance plan. It comes with a free plumbing inspection on any pipe, drain, or fixture that can be seen or touched for free. Not only do you get that free inspection, you receive 15% off all repairs and replacements all year long. And because love should be long-term and not just a one-time thing, you'll enjoy preferred response time for appointments and priority for emergency service. That's a lot of assurance for little money.
plumbing. It's no wonder Robinson's Plumbing Service has been voted the Richmond area's best plumbing service. People love them. You will too. Plumbing problems are never convenient. Show your home love with an annual maintenance plan from Robinson's Plumbing Service. Call 804-794-0918 or schedule your first date now at robinsonsplumbingservice.com.
1061 ESPN on-air interviews presented by the Herman Allen Plumbing Heating and Cooling Hotline with Lennox products that make the air in your home absolutely perfect. Get the latest update on Henrico County sports tournaments, happenings, and future events on ESPN Richmond's newest segment, the Henrico Huddle. Join Henrico Sports and Entertainment Authority Executive Director Dennis Bickmeyer as he joins Bob Black on the Sports Huddle. For more information on Henrico Sports and Event Center calendar, visit online at henricosea.com or tune in to the last Wednesday of each month for the Henrico Huddle on 1061 ESPN Richmond.
Bonaire Shell has been serving the RVA community for 20 plus years, providing service with a smile and technicians you can trust. Family owned and operated, 8762 Huguenot Road.
This is advertising material.
Injured in an Uber or Lyft? Here's the problem. Was it the driver's fault? The other car? The app company? Good luck figuring that out while you're trying to heal. Alexander Shinar Trial Attorneys, they've got a guy for rideshare accidents. And here's the best part. They don't get paid unless you do. You heal. They fight. One call, 877-222-6666. Or visit alexwins.law. Alexander Shinar Trial Attorneys. Because rideshare accidents need an experienced team.
This is advertising material. Past results do not guarantee future outcomes. Every case is different. Philip George's licensed attorney in Virginia is responsible for legal work. Office located in Norfolk.
RVA Specialty Twist Pizza available only at West Cary Sports Bar, featuring tikka masala, butter chicken, or Mexican fajita pizzas. West Cary Sports Bar, online at westcarysportsbar.com.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Coming up on the next edition of the Sports Huddle with Matt and Bob, we'll talk Randolph-Macon basketball with their head coach, and we'll release our top 5 in the state of Virginia. Has there been any movement? You'll find out 5:15 on Thursday, 1061 ESPN.
Looking to grow your local business? Let's team up. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, host of Fitz the Bill on ESPN Richmond. Together, we can craft on-air campaigns that drive customers right through your doors. Ready to collaborate? Email me, jack.fitzpatrick@summitmediacorp.com.
Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill, rolling right along on this Thursday morning. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, Allen alongside. So we are joined now, Brian Mitchell, Super Bowl 26 champion with Washington, current co-host of B. Mitch and Finley on 106.7 up in D.C. Brian, appreciate you taking some time out of your morning to chat with us. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How y'all doing?
Doing fantastic. I want to start here because you bring something to the table that Allen and I certainly don't have. None of us here at the station down in the capital of the Commonwealth have. You've got experience playing in a Super Bowl. How does this week compare to a normal game week? Kind of walk us through that.
Well, I think a regular game week, you get so accustomed to it where, it's your everyday stuff. You go to practice, or you normally go home, but you do it, it's tedious. But once you get to the Super Bowl city, you're in a hotel. You have all these different fans around where people are pulling at you. You got to be careful to make sure you're not out in the wrong places and you don't start getting caught up in the festivities. And, the way we did it, we were all in a hotel together, and then Coach Gibbs took us out the night before the game to this place in Minnesota where, I'm being honest with you, it looked like it was some prehistoric place where all I saw was snow and a building right in the middle of it. But it's a little stressful. But you got to be able to make sure the people with the experience help educate the guys that never been there before. I had a lot of guys that had played in Super Bowls when we went, and they were able to just keep me away from all the stuff because we've seen in this city, in this week, people have gotten themselves in a world of trouble at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I feel like every year we get a story somehow, somewhere of a guy doing something. And I mean, Malcolm Butler a couple of years ago with the Patriots seemingly got benched for something that happened. There's always something kind of percolating underneath the surface.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In that Super Bowl, you guys were pretty heavy favorites, at least according to the betting lines I was looking at now in 2026. Was that something that was kind of talked about as much as it's being talked about around Seattle right now, how Seattle is seemingly the darling and everyone's picking them to win? How do you handle with that?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't think anybody in the locker room knew or cared about it. I think for us, it was that the Buffalo Bills were running their mouths a lot. About they were arguing about who's going to get the MVP. We were like, hold on, the game hadn't played yet. Then they started to criticize our team, calling our offensive linemen, which were known as the Hogs, fat pigs, and all this stuff. Their defensive line coach did that. And I think what that did, that motivated us in practice. We got so intense in practice where Coach Gibbs had to stop practice and say, listen, if we keep practicing like this, we won't have anybody to play in the game. And we kind of were able to hone that in. And then when we got into the game, we put all our, all of that energy that we had garnered by them talking so much onto them. But, nobody really talked about it. I think right now, even the guys in the playing with Seattle and New England, no one in the locker room is really thinking about what the line is. They're just thinking about getting ready to play their best football. People outside of this doing a lot of talking about that. I cover this stuff now, and they're like, well, man, the guys have to hear it. Man, when you're getting ready to play a football game, you can care less about who's betting on what.
Brian Mitchell joining us this morning, co-host of the B. Mitch and Finley Show up in D.C. on 106.7. You mentioned something, though, where Coach Gibbs had to tell you guys to rein it in a little bit during practice so you didn't end up hurt going into the biggest game of the season. I think Mike McDonald might need to take a page out of that. Nick Eamon-Wari has now found his way onto the injury report. How do you see that kind of impacting the game for Seattle's defense?
Well, I think the thing of it is you want the best players out there on the football field, and hell, you can't win the game in practice. And I think a lot of times, today, in this day and age, they don't really practice as hard as we used to. But there are some coaches with that mindset, and you can let you guys go to that line, but you got to stop them from crossing that line. Because if you don't have that young man playing this week, you're going to have problems because he makes play after play after play. You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing you got to understand. You want to make sure when you get to this game, you want to be as healthy as you possibly can be. Because health can affect the whole game, no matter if it's regular season or not, and especially in the Super Bowl. If you can get your top 46, 47 people on that field, and they have their top 46, 47, if you look at it, Seattle is the better team.
Yeah.
But if Seattle starts losing some guys, and they lose a little bit of that chemistry, all of a sudden you can see New England jump up and have a chance of taking them out.
Yeah, Brian, I mean, yesterday here on the show, we did a top 10 rankings of the best players in the Super Bowl. I think 7 of those 10 ended up being Seahawks as we just kind of ran through it. They've got the talent edge, it seems like. But, yeah, the injuries might be the thing that kind of holds them back.
Yeah, injuries and mistakes always decide a game. If you look at regular season, preseason, regular season, playoffs, and you get to the Super Bowl, the team that goes out there that's the healthiest and the team that makes the least amount of mistakes, they normally leave with a victory. And that's not always the best football team. You get what I'm saying? Like, we've seen teams go into a game, don't have a chance in hell. They don't make any mistakes. The other teams seem to make mistakes because they were a little overly confident or a little bit complacent. They start making mistakes, and then all of a sudden the other team has a chance. That pressure jumps on the favorite. This is the thing Seattle has to be concerned about. If you go out there and you jump on the Patriots soon, you got a hell of a chance of beating them. But if you let that game just fester along and they hang around and it's real tight, the pressure is going to be on the Seattle Seahawks, not the New England Patriots.
Something that we've heard a lot when it comes to the Patriots and something that they're relying on, or I guess maybe not relying on, but it's a talking point around the Patriots, is their championship culture. That even though their coaches knew 99% of this roster hasn't played in a Super Bowl, whatever the number is, that they can rely on the kind of embedded championship culture in the Patriots franchise. Do you think that's something that will come up in a big way, or is that more just radio talk for us to get through the 2 weeks of Super Bowl prep?
As radio talk and as people that's trying to present something, listen, that championship culture doesn't play. The players play. The guys that have the most experience will be the guys to be able to do that. Listen, Mike Vrabel has great experience. He's been in those games, but you know what Mike Vrabel has never done? He's never coached in one of these games. Mike Vrabel, what he's done can't just be embedded into his players, and his players play based off of his experience. Look at Mike McDonald with his crew. His crew hadn't been there either. But they're going to have to find a way to hone in what they did all year to end up winning 14 games. You know, we got there to the Super Bowl. I had Monty Coleman and Darryl Green and the Hogs and all these guys, Art Monk and Charles Mann, guys who had played in it. And they told me stuff all week. And, you know, if a person who had experience or you have your culture, if that can win games, then I wouldn't have not known the 5 minutes. The first 5 minutes of the game, people, I told this story on station on a couple of interviews the other day. I didn't remember the first 5 minutes of the game for 10, 15 years because I was stuck. You know, coming out of the locker room, looking up and seeing all the flashes, I went into a trance and did not know what the hell was going on. Didn't know that the other team had kicked the ball off twice in the beginning of the game. I was on the field, but I wasn't present until later when I'm watching the game on film, and I'm like, when did they do that? You know, it's not going to help you until you get on the field. Then you're going to have to rely on what you've done in practice and things like that. If somebody else played, the team has been that doesn't help the individual.
Brian Mitchell joining us on this Thursday morning, co-host of the B. Mitch and Finley Show up on 106.7 in D.C., Super Bowl 26 champion as well. And you kind of touched on it there where this game, players always talk about how it has a different feel. You feel the pressure a little bit more. How did you overcome that? If the first 5 minutes you didn't remember for another decade down the line, how'd you then settle in minute 6 to then kind of realize, all right, this is a game, we've got to attack it that way?
I'm on the sideline, and Ernest Biner came and said, man, what's wrong with you? You seem to be out of it. And when he gave me the slap on the head, I kind of like came to it. I'm like, damn, now you realize where you are. And one thing I knew growing up, my dad always say, handle what you can handle. And, you know, Ernest kept saying, hey, bro, just do the things you've been doing all year. Because what happens to young guys, we always feel as a young person, we have to do something special. Okay? And when you think you got to do something special, you get outside of what the game plan is. So I just went back to all the fundamentals and was able to get through that game. And then I became the little chatterbox, the talking person I've always been. I was on the sideline hyping people up. First 5 minutes, I promise you, I wasn't hyping people up. You know, and I think that's the thing of it, where you just got to go into this game and you have to remember what you've been taught and try to replicate that. But don't go out there thinking you have to make the play, you know, because one play is not going to win the game. One play could lose the game if you do something rather stupid, but one play is not going to win the game. So just go out there and do the things you've been taught all your life, and especially that week of the Super Bowl.
Brian, who do you see winning this game, and how do you see it playing out?
I think overall the better team is Seattle, so I'm leaning towards them, but many people think it's going to be a complete blowout. I don't think the game will be a complete blowout. I think that the defense of New England is going to be able to do enough to affect Seattle's defense, which this game might be anywhere from 4 points to 7 points victory for the Seahawks.
And last question here before we let you go. You're up there in D.C. You're embedded in it all. And the Wizards, I'm going to take a hard right turn, go to the NBA real quick, because the Wizards made a pretty big move, right? What are the vibes around D.C. with the Wizards going out and getting Anthony Davis? Just give us kind of a vibe check up there in the district.
Well, I think people are overall excited because I think the guys who really pay attention to Wizards basketball and understand this new regime who's come in, that move wasn't about this year. The move with Trey Young is not about this year. That stuff is about next year. Both of those guys are not going to be able to do much this year. They're both injured, and I think they're not trying to win games because they have a protected pick that they want to keep. I think this is all about next year where you have those young guys still getting some more experience under their belt. And if you have both Anthony Davis and Trey Young healthy with Trey Johnson, with Alex Sarr, with Keyshawn George, I think all of a sudden now you have a team that can go out there and compete. And I think that's what this is about. And if those two guys don't happen to work out, you can move on from them rather quickly. They still want to have that first pick, and they're hoping to get in the top 3 because you got 3 guys coming out right now who are absolutely good.
That's true. If they can land one of those guys, I think this looks a lot better than it does, at least in my opinion, right here, right now. But, Brian, appreciate your time. Have fun the next couple of days and enjoy the Super Bowl.
All right, man. Y'all take care. Enjoy yourselves.
Of course. There goes Brian Mitchell, Super Bowl 26 champion with Washington, current co-host of B. Mitch and Finley on 106.7 up in D.C. Appreciate him taking some time out of his morning, shed some light on the game and kind of the mental part of the game. Something that, look, I love the nerd numbers. I can talk about the stats. I can break down the advanced analytics, all of that. We can grind the tape, but at the end of the day, we don't know what it feels like to lace them up, go between the white lines and kind of understand what it is. So funny of him to talk about how first 5 minutes of the game, a complete blur. He does not remember the first 5 minutes of that game. And that's something that I think both of these teams are going to have to overcome. And both of these teams are going to have to rely on the guys who have been there before. That's the biggest key. You've even heard it already with Sam Darnold, who has played in this game before, albeit it was as the backup to Brock Purdy back a couple of Super Bowls ago. But Darnold was the backup to Purdy, and Darnold's been the guy kind of telling some of the offensive players, hey, this is how the week's going to go. This is how you approach it. So any type of Super Bowl experience cannot be understated going into this game.
Yeah, it's the level of distraction that you get in the Super Bowl week is probably magnified times like a million. And then, their schedule's off a little bit. I bet you they look forward to that second week where they can get back to kind of like a normal thing, whether it's like practice, back to the hotel, things like that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to hear, even from an all-time great like himself, like his origin story, right? Like his first time was even like, whoa. And and thankfully he had guidance, Ernest Biner and those guys who had been there and done that, which can't be understated, which brings me to Williams on the Patriots. He's got Super Bowl experience.
Yeah, he does.
He's as recent as last year. So I'm sure he's going to help, especially on that defensive side, to kind of get these guys to, realize, like, look, it is a big game, but like Mitchell said, or Mr. Mitchell said, you got to go back to your fundamentals. It's still football.
Yeah.
It's still it's easy to say over here, but on the field, like it's still the game that you've been playing all your life. Don't overthink it.
Yeah, just do what you've been doing.
Yeah.
Do literally what got you here. Like, cliches are a cliche for a reason, right? And some of them, they've just got to come true in the game. All right, let's get a break in here. We'll step aside, break down a little bit more of the trade deadline. John Morant's still out there. Giannis still out there. Teams are inquiring. Will anyone land them? We'll talk about that as well as all of the trades that happened yesterday across the association. Stay with us on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. Fits the bill.
Valentine's Day is next Saturday, February 14th, and you need to get flowers. Vogue Flower Market is the place for all your Valentine's Day needs. From stunning rose bouquets to elegant handmade arrangements by Richmond's premier local florist. We have every option to suit your budget, with mixed bouquets starting at $14.95 at each of our locations. We understand the importance of every detail, and that's why Vogue offers hand delivery to surprise your special someone at home or work. Imagine the joy on their face when a professionally crafted arrangement arrives straight from the heart. Stop by one of Vogue's convenient locations, Parham Road near Patterson in the West End, or our flagship headquarters at Arthur Ashe Boulevard near Broad Street. Order today for delivery next week and get ahead of the game. Call to place your order at 804-353-9600. That's 804-353-9600, or go to VogueFlowers.com to order online. Henrico Sports and Entertainment Authority Executive Director Dennis Bickmeyer joins Bob Black for the Henrico Huddle, ESPN Richmond's newest monthly feature.
WorkZone is the one-stop shop for the hardworking man and woman. When it comes to the biggest selection, WorkZone has it. Over 15 brands of boots in all toe types, even boots for the ladies. WorkZone has jackets in stock for all seasons, from cold weather to lightweight. See why WorkZone will be your first and only stop for the best brands and comfort and workwear. And a gift card from WorkZone is always the perfect gift. Visit WorkZone on Temple Avenue next to the Ford dealership, WorkZoneVA.com, and check them out on Instagram and Facebook.
It's the grand opening of RVA's newest destination, West Cary Sports Bar, located in the heart of the Fan District. A perfect spot to meet your friends, to catch a game on dozens of high-def TVs, enjoy the old-school arcade games, play football, or take a ride in the racing simulator. The chef-inspired menu features classic bar favorites plus specialty international dishes. Open open for lunch and dinner at the corner of Cary and Robinson Street. Stop by today at the new West Cary Sports Bar. Online at westcarysportsbarrva.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, with an auto warranty about to expire, or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-871-7561. Drivers who are covered will not pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-871-7561. That's 800-871-7561. What do you have to lose? Call 800-871-7561. Again, 800-871-7561.
Whether it's the football field, the basketball court, or the diamond, and everything in between, we'll be talking JMU athletics on Talkin' Dukes Wednesdays, 6 o'clock here on 106.1 ESPN.
I don't hate it. Kind of dig this one. This is good stuff. Have you seen the hate Shams is getting on Twitter right now?
Because he's
not breaking
Woj?
any. Yeah, he's not Woj. He's not breaking any news. So one of the ones he did not break was Kuminga last night getting traded in what may have been the biggest shock of the year. I say sarcastically.
He didn't report that at all?
He reported it once it happened. He didn't know. He was not reporting on any potential moves. Was not even reporting that could happen. He just reported that it did happen when it did happen. When Kuminga was traded to the Hawks, Buddy Hield also moved. Kristaps Porzingis heads from Atlanta to Golden State. That move was interesting. That was a very interesting move. And you said, was it on air or maybe it was in a commercial break? The Warriors are now just the Heat.
Yeah.
The Warriors are just the East Coast, the West Coast Heat.
Just associated with everything, but actually doing something of significance, right? Like they were supposedly heavy on the Giannis sweepstakes and landed on Porzingis. Wow. Just seriously, absolutely wow. If I'm Steph Curry, I'd retire.
If I'm Steph Curry, I would have retired in 2022 and rode off into the sunset after winning the championship.
Draymond's linked to maybe being traded to the Lakers.
Is that new? Is that new information? That just
that was yesterday. It's I think somebody asked him about it, and the Warriors were not non-committal to the idea of trading him finally.
I will say something Shams floated yesterday after the Kuminga trade happened and all of that movement happened. Shams kind of floated that, the only trade Draymond would have been involved in was a Giannis trade. And now that they've moved off of Kuminga and Hield, bringing in Porzingis, they're not in the Giannis sweepstakes anymore. So Draymond's good there. Other news around the league, the Hornets added Tyus Jones and 2 seconds from the Magic for cash. The Hornets also added Mike Conley and Kobe White in a 3-team deal. The Chicago Bulls get Colin Sexton. Lonzo Ball was sent from Cleveland to Utah in a 3-team deal. However, Lonzo Ball is expected to be waived by Utah. Chris Paul was sent to the Raptors. It's expected that he will not play, may even get moved again today or bought out. And then OKC traded for Jared McCain. The Sixers received 1 first-rounder, 3 seconds over the next couple of years for the guard who kind of had his minutes cut down over throughout this entire season as VJ Edgecombe has grown in, Tyrese Maxey. McCain kind of became a tertiary piece that the Sixers were okay moving off of. Lot of moves. And, of course, the biggest one of them all, Anthony Davis going to the Wizards. We talked with Brian a little bit about that. And Brian, Brian Mitchell, Super Bowl 26 champion, co-host of the B. Mitch and Finley show up there in D.C., he did make a good point. This is a move for the future. I just don't see it working out because of all of the ifs surrounding Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is a great player if he plays. This is a good move for the Wizards if he plays 60, 70, 75% of the available games. Anthony Davis is good if, and the Wizards feel like they're in a spot that they need a for sure, not an if. Even Trae Young, the big guard acquisition they got earlier this season, that feels like a big if. If Trae Young gets healthy, if he returns to his form from 2021, if. And when you've got a core of Trey Johnson, you've got a core with Alex Sarr, these young guys who are showing potential, you don't want ifs surrounding them. You want for sures. You want certainty. And the Wizards didn't go out and get certainty. Now, these are moves for the future. They're going to continue benching Anthony Davis, benching Trae Young so that they can try and ensure as best as they can a top 4 pick or top 3 pick as that's protected. This year's draft class is pretty darn good on paper, so you hope you can get a good draft pick and then use that to get a difference maker, add that into the lineup, and that might be the thing that pushes them over the edge. But it feels like, you said microwave earlier, they're microwaving the rebuild here in the last 12 months since this new front office came in. I'm saying they're putting the oven on broil. This was at a nice 325, low and slow. You know, you got the ribs wrapped up in foil. You're doing all of that. You just got to wait. Patience is the key. Feels like this front office right now not exhibiting patience, throwing that oven up to broil and saying, all right, let's finish it up. Come on, let's go. And you end up burning everything and ruining the dish.
Well, if what Brian Mitchell said is true, and he's more connected up there in D.C. than we are, as following the team on a daily basis, if they have it out in 2 years or within 2 years, then it's fine. And obviously they do need to keep that protected pick.
Yeah.
Because there's a ton of talent they can get in this current draft. I just don't like the optics though, because I feel like they're making these moves thinking that these are game-changing moves, and it's just too risky, man.
It's a lot of ifs.
Yeah. Like, there's a reason why nobody's ever taken a risk on Embiid, his injury history. There's a reason why Zion is still in New Orleans.
Yeah.
It's his injury history.
And also, here's the thing with a lot of these trades, right? Who has the most available information on these players? The team that they are coming from.
Yeah.
So if Dallas is willing to move off of Anthony Davis for pennies on the dollar, essentially it's a salary dump. Like, that is what this boils down to, because Washington really only gave up Chris Middleton, who they've been trying to get off of that contract for the last season, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley II, 2 firsts, 3 seconds. Not a lot to go out and get Anthony Davis. Now, here comes the Brian Windhorst finger-pointing meme right now. Now, what does this mean? It means the Mavericks weren't sold on Anthony Davis. They didn't think he was part of their long-term plans. They didn't think he would be around and a viable option in 5 years. What's so different about the Mavericks timeline compared to the Washington Wizards timeline? Both trying to build around a young core. How does Anthony Davis fit into that? I don't think he does. And now you've got to eat on his contract, one of the 7 largest contracts in the NBA in terms of remaining salary. I do not see the vision.
Can we save Klay Thompson? Poor guy.
At this point,
he went to Dallas to play with Kyrie.
He got Megan the Stallion out of it, so he's fine.
That's true.
He's good. But, hey, maybe the Wizards will take a flyer on him, too.
I'd take a flyer on him.
Maybe the Wizards package AD plus Alex Sarr for Giannis to pair with Trae Young. Sit Giannis for the rest of the season. I'm joking. 100% joking. Could you imagine that?
I mean, it would probably get it done.
Yeah, it probably would.
That's why I was like, wait, is this serious?
Yeah, good. Could they?
I don't think the Bucks are seriously wanting to trade Giannis.
I think the Bucks. I think Bruce called in earlier and was talking about it. Giannis, the longer he stays on the Bucks, the longer he is more likely to become or stay a Buck, I should say.
Yeah.
Which I think will be the biggest mistake of this trade cycle, because you will not get Giannis's value is a depreciating asset. So if you think you're going to hold on to him until the offseason, you're not going to get anything back. Or you will get something back, but nowhere near as much as probably what you would have gotten this time around. I would love to see some of the deals that have been offered to Milwaukee get leaked, just to see what they are turning down. Because I imagine what they're turning down are some star players with a lot of picks involved, and they're saying no because they want a king's ransom back. They want a star player now, they want a future star player, and they want picks. Look, Giannis is not commanding that right now. He may have commanded that in the offseason, but probably not. But especially now, as he's dealing with injuries, and he has not played up to his potential over the last 18 months. I think Milwaukee would make a huge mistake, and they would set their franchise back a decade if they don't move off of Giannis now. You're going to get much less picks. I have a feeling Milwaukee's using the Desmond Bane deal as their barometer, trying to use that as kind of their benchmark. Magic overpaid for Desmond Bane, and a team is not going to overpay for Giannis right now. They know you're desperate. They know Giannis doesn't want to be there, and they know we probably have just as much of a chance of landing him in the offseason as we do right now. A tough spot for Milwaukee to be in.
Yeah, and again, the longer Giannis stays in Milwaukee, the less likely he is to even want to do business with them later on, because Coach Rivers ain't really giving you much confidence there, and their roster building has went backwards more so than even sideways. Like, it stinks. So I think his last statement was like he wants to stay in Milwaukee. He just doesn't want to be fighting for the bottom of the playoffs every year or something like that. Well, get used to it, buddy.
This was the offseason for Milwaukee to try and go out and prove that they were legit about him. And they got Miles Turner.
I find it funny that the Pistons are not in any conversations for real with
Giannis?
With like,
or just any of them?
With any of them, like even with like a
Kuminga
or something like that. Yeah, like it's just like they just simple moves. I mean, the Thunder, the team that the reigning champion,
went out and got Jared McCain.
Yeah, they've had their name thrown into the Giannis sweepstakes to improve. The Knicks have had their name thrown into the Giannis sweepstakes to improve. Are we just that confident that Dern I think it's Dern.
Yeah.
And the Pistons are just happy where they are?
And Cade Cunningham, like, are they just content with saying, all right, we've got 2 stars that we've drafted. We don't want to give up any future capital, and we'll just build around that? It could be a mistake. They could be buying too much stock in this current version of the Pistons and not having a 5-year outlook.
Yeah, like I can understand not wanting to have Cade and Harden on the same floor. Of course not. But like Giannis would fit. Fine.
You add Giannis down low. I mean, all of a sudden you're looking solid. I think that'd be fun. But there's so much to it behind the scenes. I think Giannis, I'm still in the Minnesota camp. I think you put Rudy Gobert in a package and you send him over to Milwaukee. You bring Giannis back. That enhances your team. Maybe that's what's enough to get you over the hump. That's going to be the one to watch. If the Knicks are serious about it, you package Cat with some picks to try and go and get Giannis. But the Knicks, they're in the midst of an 8-game win streak. I think that's almost taking them out of the Giannis sweepstakes. And something that is going to be huge for a Giannis trade is that he is only under contract for 1 more year after this year. He's under contract in 26-27, and then he has a player option for 27-28. So if you wait to the offseason, you've just lost half of a season that a team could have had with him, and that's going to drastically drop his value.
Toronto, do your dirty work again. Get him for a flyer like you did with Kawhi.
Nah, if you want to talk about doing dirty work, go out to L.A. The Clippers might have a new business you can invest in that will secretly pay for their players under the table. Allegedly.
Clippers can't get right.
Has not been proven. Have you noticed? I never noticed this. The Clippers don't go by the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers go by the L.A. Clippers.
Yeah.
And then the Lakers go by the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah.
I never realized that.
Because there's only one team in Los Angeles.
You're right, the Raiders.
No, but like, why, you can't compete with the Lakers. I'm sure there's some reason why, but I would assume from a branding purpose, like, you can't compete with the Los Angeles Lakers.
Honestly,
you can't be the Los Angeles Clippers. Although it says it on their uniforms.
Yeah, it's so stupid. But honestly, the Angels in MLB, they got it right. They said, we're not going to compete with the Dodgers. Yeah. We're going to be the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And it's like, there you go.
And that's why they lose every single game, basically.
Hey, did we have 2 of the greatest players of this generation on the team at the same time, both in their prime? Yes. What did we do? Absolutely nothing.
One of the most miserable franchises in all of professional sports in America. Easily.
If you're an Angels fan, don't be. It's as simple as that. All right, let's get a break in here. We'll step aside, be back to wrap up this Thursday edition of Fitz the Bill on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
February is famous for presidents' birthdays. Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, and believe it or not, mine too. This is Rob Nicholson, president at East Coast Appliance, and we're having a huge President's Day sale to celebrate. Save up to 50% off Virginia's largest in-stock inventory of new appliances, or save even more with up to 75% off our huge scratch and dent inventory. All with same-day, next-day delivery and installation available. It's the President's Day sale at East Coast Appliance. Hey, send me a birthday card.
Hey man, you still need help fixing your old refrigerator?
No, I'm all set. I already got a new one.
Really? How'd you get it so fast?
I got a guy. They delivered and installed it the next day. Plus, I got the best price in town.
Still putting off replacing your old appliances? I'm Rob Nicholson, your appliance guy. And at East Coast Appliance, we have the largest in-stock appliance inventory in Virginia, plus a huge selection of new scratch and dent appliances at discounted prices. Visit East Coast Appliance today and get the best price, or it's free.
Valentine's Day is next Saturday, February 14th, and you need to get flowers. Vogue Flower Market is the place for all your Valentine's Day needs. From stunning rose bouquets to elegant handmade arrangements by Richmond's premier local florist. We have every option to suit your budget with mixed bouquets starting at $14.95 at each of our locations. We understand the importance of every detail, and that's why Vogue offers hand delivery to surprise your special someone at home or work. Imagine the joy on their face when a professionally crafted arrangement arrives straight from the heart. Stop by one of Vogue's convenient locations, Parham Road near Patterson in the West End, or our flagship headquarters at Arthur Ashe Boulevard near Broad Street. Order today for delivery next week and get ahead of the game. Call to place your order at 804-353-9600. That's 804-353-9600, or go to VogueFlowers.com to order online.
I checked Allstate first and saved hundreds on my car insurance. Really smart. Unfortunately, I didn't check if I took the gas hose out of my car's tank. Ooh, not smart. And I drove off while still attached to pump number 3.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Potential savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different.
Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
We don't wait to react. We lead the conversation.
And what it means next.
The Sports Huddle with Bob and Mac, weekdays 4 to 6.
Welcome back in. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick. Alan alongside here on Fitz the Bill on this Thursday, February 5th morning. We've got a loaded show tomorrow. Tomorrow, we've got, count it up. Let me count it up in my head real quick. 4 guests tomorrow. Richmond Spiders head basketball coach Chris Mooney joining the show, as is VCU's head coach Phil Martelli Jr. We've got Kevin Walsh joining, host of Game Time on Sports Grid. He'll chat some big game bets. And Dan Pizzuta, friend of the show, stops by to chat a little bit more about Super Bowl 60. We'll get all of their picks for the Super Bowl as well. That's all coming up tomorrow in hour number 2. You do not want to miss that. A huge second hour on a Friday getting you set for the Super Bowl. As we head out to the phone lines, the Radke Insurance phone line. The NBA and all sports are all speculative in nature. Real talk, in 1987, Allen was a baby. Yeah, you were. Man, you're old. Woo! The talk around that 1987 NBA draft was that the Chicago Bulls needed help to lift Michael Jordan past the good NBA teams in the East, like the Sixers, Celtics, and a young Pistons team, Cavaliers, even the Hawks. The Bulls drafted a kid from small school in Arkansas. What in the world are the Bulls doing was all the rage on sports shows back then. That player was Scottie Pippen. Yep. I guess that maybe the Wizards? Sure.
Did Scottie Pippen come in with a lot of injury history?
I mean, look, it's a lot of ifs. Look, And it could work, but it's not going to. Because name me the last time AD played a full healthy season. And I'll go one further. Name me the last time he was healthy in a postseason run.
Your wonderful Mickey Mouse.
And you know why he was healthy in that run? Because he got 2 months to rest. Like, look, I get it. You can call it a Mickey Mouse trophy, whatever you want.
That's what it was.
Okay. Oh, my goodness.
That's what it was.
No, what? Look, yeah, it was literally the Mickey Mouse because it was played at Disney.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's not legitimate. You got it.
Sure. Yeah, all right. But, like, a big reason why, I'll call it like I sees him. I'm a LeBron fan, right? But I'll say it. He's not winning that title if that championship was played right after the season. Because AD can't hold up. AD has not played a meaningful postseason run, dare I say, in his entire career? Did he have one other, like in the 2021 season when they lost to the Suns in the Western Conference Finals? Maybe that was the last time. But, like, the dude is just one big if. And his entire career has been that. And if you expect that to change in Washington, all right, cool. I'm just not there. And prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, AD. It's a move that shows they're having a vision. They've got a vision for the next 5 years, and they see AD and Trae Young playing into that vision over the next 5 years. And because they're able to take that approach, they know they can punt on this season, keep their protected draft pick, and potentially go out and get a difference maker at the top end of this draft. But we all know how the NBA draft lottery works. It's fickle. I mean, look, Cooper Flag goes to the Dallas Mavericks despite them having like a 2% chance to land the number 1 overall pick. Is it rigged? Who knows? Maybe now with Anthony Davis, that's the good luck charm to get a good draft pick in the lottery. There's just so many things around the Wizards that need to go right. Alex Sarr also still has to take a step forward in his development. He's a guy that came in because he was a Wemby-esque player, not saying he is Wemby, but he was supposed to be this big man, a stretch 5, a 7-footer who can step out, drain threes, and also block shots at an insanely high clip. His defensive game has been fantastic, but offensively, he's shooting around 30% from long range. That's not going to do it. Alex Sarr needs to take a step forward offensively to be that third guy in this trio. And that's a big if. Big if AD stays healthy. Big if they hit on one of these draft picks. So much around it. So many ifs. That's why I have this as a C. It's average. I like the thought process. I like that you didn't have to sell the house to get it. You kept together every single one of your young players. But at the same time, I question it because you're really hitching your wagon on an injured guy and a Trae Young who has not played up to his potential in the last 3 years. So there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things that need to hit. If it hits, it's a home run. But I just can't give a bunch of ifs an A+. For the Mavericks, all things considered, you turn Luka Doncic into 2 low-end first-round draft picks. Congratulations. Desmond Bane netted 4. It's yikes. That's an F in Dallas. That's why Nico Harrison's currently listing his job as unemployed on his Instagram bio, because his moves got them there. That'll do it for Fitz the Bill on this Thursday morning. Like I said, tomorrow we've got a packed day. Richmond men's basketball head coach Chris Mooney will join, as will VCU men's basketball head coach Phil Martelli Jr. Kevin Walsh, host of Game Time on Sports Grid, he'll join to chat some big game bets. And Dan Pizzuta, he stops by, friend of the program, to chat about Super Bowl 60, what he's seeing from an analytics perspective. Excited to pick his brain on this matchup and see how much or how important the Nick Eamon-Warry injury could potentially be to the Seattle Seahawks. Appreciate you for making us part of your Thursday morning. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow, 106.1 ESPN Richmond, the ESPN Richmond app, and ESPNRichmond.com. We're also streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Never miss a show by liking, commenting, and subscribing on our streams wherever you find us on social. Coming up next, Clinton and Friends takes you into the Rich Eisen Show. Then we're back live and local here from the capital of the Commonwealth, starting at 4 p.m. with the new Sports Huddle with Bob and Matt. And then we've got the Lake Lewis Jr. Show tonight, 6 p.m., 6 to 7, right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
Your home for Richmond Spiders athletics all year round. W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV